All right, so I grew up with alcoholic parents, and I feel like the biggest thing is like feeling like, well, one thing is it kind of robs you of your childhood because you kind of have to take over the responsibilities. Because obviously, once they're like drunk and inebriated and out of it, you have to kind of like maybe you had to take care of your siblings, maybe you had to take care of the chores in the houses and do this and do that, and it kind of robs you of your like youthful innocence and carefree, your ability to be carefree in a sense. That's one thing, and like a second thing is also like, you know what I mean, it's almost like abstract, but or maybe not so abstract. Like I just remember being places and like almost like I would just be like, why are you, you know what I mean, my one of my parents would get drunk and I'd be like, why are you doing this, like you know what I mean, like you can't do this isn't right. And they'd almost like gaslight you like it's something you're doing or you're wrong for feeling that way or you're being a buzzkill and all this stuff. But you really just want to have a parent who's there and secure and safe and able to take care of you and not have to take care of your parent and vice versa, which just kind of ties into the first one of robbing you of your childhood. And like that's the second thing is just like that shame and that guilt and stuff like that. Like, um, sort of like, a lot of times they put it on you where they said, "Oh, you drive me to drink," or "You're the reason I drink," or you feel like maybe indirectly or implicitly, like you're one of the like causes of your parents drinking and stuff like that. But if you think about it, their alcoholism has way more to do with them. Like it's all to do with them, honestly, because so many people have stresses beyond belief and don't turn to alcohol to quell their um, stress. You know what I mean? So like a third thing, I feel well. The third thing is like I feel like I have a lot of trauma from that. Like it carries over to my relationship. Like when my girlfriend would drink and stuff around me or stuff like that, it would kind of like take me back to that time. Like just feeling not cared for and feeling afraid and feeling scared. And it was a major trigger for me. So I would say like be mindful of that because, like that's definitely a real thing and stuff like, and you know what I mean? But just like sort of like growing up and feeling like, why isn't like our family or our reality or your situation, why am I not good enough just for you to deal with sober? Like, are we really so bad? Especially because parents a lot of times will say like I said, like they'll say like, "Oh, you're the reason I drink," or "You're the cause of this," or "Your kids are so bad that I have to drink to get to deal with it," and like that's such a negative thing for a child to hear. And I just want you to know, and that it's not your fault that your parents drink. Like they those decisions that your parents make are not your fault. Actually, matter of fact, they decided to have a kid, so if they have you, then that like supersedes their, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like people don't talk about that enough. Like, having alcoholic parents can do a lot of damage on you. Just like not having a solid structure there to be around, and like they can't always drive when they're drunk. So like you feel like you can't like, or like, you know what I mean? Maybe they miss picking you up, or just I feel like seeing a parent out of it like that is traumatic enough. Like whether they're getting sick or they're passing out drunk or they're not answering their phone and stuff, just having to worry about an adult totally changes that dynamic because it becomes like when you're a kid, like you're having to take care of your parent rather than them taking care of you. And it is so traumatic. It's so hard to deal with. And I totally get that. Like, I remember being places like, let's say we're at a hotel and one of my parents, a certain one is drunk. And like, I just remember being like, this is such like a, like a, memory for me. Like, be like, Mom, why are you drinking? Why are you drunk? Like, no one else is drinking. No one, no, no, none of these other people are drunk. And like, worried, how are we gonna get back to our hotel room? How am I gonna get her back to our hotel room? Like, what if something happens? You know what I mean? I was all nervous and I had to be on my guard because I was just a kid. And, you feel like you're not being able to be taken care of, And it's just hard and it's really hard. And, you know what I mean? I feel like knowing that may be what you felt like as a child, but definitely like journaling helps a lot. Like coming to grips with like that's not where you are now though. Like now you can be secure. Like you can be you can be on solid ground. And you don't have to follow in those same footsteps. And also, if you do have kids of your own, like you don't have to like subject them to that. Like you can do better. And alcohol can be a hard. Ooh, I'm tired. Alcohol can be a hard, like, bug to kick, I guess, but um, I feel like it's never too late. Like, honestly, like, even the liver itself has the capability to heal itself. And I know, like, there can be withdrawal symptoms and stuff like that, but just, there's a difference between social drinking and being an alcoholic, though. Like, people sometimes overprescribe the term alcoholic, and there's like two different type of alcoholics. There's someone who just drinks every day, like, the typical guy gets home from work and he just drinks a bunch of alcohol, like, doesn't get like super drunk. But then there's someone who doesn't drink maybe every night as much, but then they like every like once a week or something, though, on Friday they'll just get hammered and just blackout, right? And I actually got like both of those, but not for me, for my parents. But and I think another part too is like, if this is like one of the more like late term things, but like, what I mean, I had a lot of angst, and I still have. There's still some like frustration from my parents and stuff like that, like, because like they did rob me of part of my like some of my childhood and stuff, and it was just really hard. But like a thing is like, and there's still some anger there about the irresponsibility and like the carelessness and like, never getting an apology for that. But like another thing is like kind of understanding like it wasn't your fault, and like why your parents would do that and why they felt like they had to do that, and like what was really going on in that situation. But just definitely like I feel like the shame and the guilt of it and stuff like that, because a lot of times I remember I don't know why I would always feel so bad when my mom was like, drunk or drinking a lot. I would always feel so like out of it and angry and just self-loathing and stuff. And I just feel like understanding that you were just dealing with that and that's the way you know how to cope with it can lift some of that weight off your shoulders and stuff. And obviously now I'm doing a lot better, and I don't drink anything ever, because like I feel like, for that reason. But I can be around people who are drinking and be just fine, and it doesn't bother me. I don't like see people who are sloppily drunk. I don't think a lot of people, anyone really does, but it kind of takes me back to that time. But um, just like be easy with yourself and know that it's not your fault that your parents drink, and it can be hard to heal from all of that stuff, but definitely just like thinking about it like realistically and like truthfully, being true to yourself and like journaling about it can help, because like you have to really think like what did it really mean? It didn't mean that you were a bad kid, or that your parents didn't like you, or that you're going to become an alcoholic because they were, or that life is bad. You have to really think about what core beliefs you took away from that, and try to like just think, is that true? Because I knew that my parents just couldn't handle the stress in their life, but that doesn't have anything to do with me. That's just who they are and how they couldn't handle the stress. And um that's that.